Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream, and today is July the 10th. I'm going to cover your spiritual principle a day in a meditation for July 9th and make sure that is uploaded to our YouTube channel. I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our Hood Recovery Services. And let's go ahead and get into that reading. Was at my mother-in-law's, my stepmother, excuse me. I was at her service yesterday and did not have the time to do this for you. However, I like to do it now. July 9th, courage to walk our path. It takes courage and humility to open new doors and to close old ones. Living Clean, Chapter 4, Courage. If we imagine life to be like a hallway full of open doors, each leading down new paths of opportunity, then active addiction basically consists of walking down the hallway, kicking doors closed. Getting clean in NA and working the program allows us to explore new opportunities or revisit old possibilities we had closed off to ourselves in our addiction. Courage and humility make it possible. The freedom to choose our own path can be scary. After all, if we make a choice for ourselves, we don't get to blame others if we're unhappy with the results. Each time we choose a new door to walk through or a door to close behind us, we build courage to keep doing so. Actively making choices helps us to see that our higher power will be present in the process, even when the initial results aren't what we wanted. Perhaps we walk away from a relationship, home group, or job that we found unfulfilling, and then we find ourselves feeling lonely or lost afterward. We find a new partner, new group, new job, or maybe we go back to what we left and our feelings change again. It's all temporary, and we always have more chances and choices coming our way. Some of us change relationships, jobs, and home groups the way others change socks and undies. But if we don't get comfortable with ourselves, none of these external factors can keep us comfortable for long. Courage helps us walk through doors. Humility will help us embrace or endure what we find on the other side. Humility means knowing ourselves, faults and all. To be happy with our choices, we need to be honest with ourselves about who we are and what we need and want. The NA program helps us find the courage to make our own choices and the humility we need to live with the choices we make. The steps help me find the courage and humility I need to choose my own path. I will put my freedom to good use by living the steps. This is a beautiful spiritual principle day meditation. The spiritual principle here is courage today, but it's also talking about humility. Because see, the courage to make a decision without allowing others to make the final decision for us, that takes a lot of courage because it's easier to put the responsibility for what we do or don't do on the shoulders of other people. And that's what we call placing blame, but it's also, you know, that's post, right? So placing blame is after the fact, but prior to that decision, when we lack the ability to be responsible for our own decision making, what we have a tendency to do is to project the decision onto someone else. In a sense, we sort of delegate it to someone else, and we say, well, because my husband did such and such, I had to do this. Or I wouldn't have done this if she had not said this. So then what happens in the spiritual sense is that afterwards, after the consequences, after the decision, afterwards, we can use that individual and their action or lack of action as the reason why we did what we did. And now we're placing blame or we're finding excuses to avoid taking responsibility for ourselves. So let me say this: decision making is an art. Every decision I make is not going to always be the right decision. The decisions I make in the moment, hopefully, I have weighed them out carefully. Okay. So I've thought about the pros and cons, and the pros, if I'm making such a decision, probably outweigh the cons. But there are some things that can happen after you make the decision. You can get more information. There can be more revelation, right? You can make a decision to purchase something. This is the most simplest example I can give. You make a decision to purchase something because there's a need for you to have it. And then after you coughed up all of that money to get that particular item, you find out that there's a recall. Did you make a bad decision? Matter of fact, you might find out that there was a recall and someone just had not pulled it off the shelf yet. So did you make a bad decision in buying that particular item? Probably not. If you have thought to do the research and go to the FDA and type in on their website what you were buying to see if there were any issues, you could have made a better decision. But honestly, you made a decision based on the information. Now you know you can go to the FDA website and investigate what you're trying to buy, right? So now you have that piece of information. But if you went to buy something and it was reasonable that you needed it, you made a good decision. But more information came to you after the fact. And so now this is not a good item to have. It has to be returned because it's on recall. That's the most simplest example of that I can get. But there are examples in our day-to-day living where we make decisions based on the information that we have. The lack of information can change or affect your ability to make the best decision. That's why what it says here, it takes courage and humility to open new doors and to close old ones. You have to have the courage. And that's why the serenity prayer is very helpful. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And then there has to be a level of humility that matches that level of courage, right? And that humility is important because sometimes, right? Sometimes if you're not humble and you're not recognizing who you are not recognizing your faults and all, and you go on and make a very, very, very zealous, courageous decision or act, and you have not considered your true self, your true circumstance. You have not been humble in analyzing yourself, your assets and your liabilities, how your MO, how have you operated over the years. And then you get into the situation that you decided upon with courage, all the courage in the world, knowing goodness well that maybe you've never been an outgoing person. Maybe you've always been an introverted individual. And now you put yourself in a position where you're having to interact with people all the time, every day. And you come home and you're stressed out about that new job or that new situation that you put yourself in, totally ignoring the fact that you're an introvert. You receive your energy from within. You receive your energy from studying and being by yourself, and that's where you refill at, not a socialite at all. So that's another example where I can think of that a person might be courageous on one hand but not humble on the other, and it could cause conflict because now either you're going to show up on that new job with an attitude every day because it doesn't fit your personality, or you're going to drop the ball on be irresponsible about carrying out that particular responsibility. And you're going to be viewed as a very inconsistent individual, when in actuality, had you taken the courage and the humility and matched them, it would have been much better. There are some things I think in life that we are going to have to walk away from. Uh, and I think that that takes courage, but it also takes humility to carefully analyze ourselves and bring all of who we are to the table and look at that, right? And be truthful with ourselves. There's nothing worse. There's nothing worse. I tell you the truth. There's nothing worse being a sponsor, working with a sponsee who is seeking to go over their steps, and you get into the step work with them only to find out that the majority of what they wrote, based on what they're telling you, is only half the truth. They've omitted part of the truth. So now you're in a situation where maybe you've given them some direction that is not apt at all. It does not aptly apply to them at all because they've lied by omission. People like that waste my time, I try to give them opportunities to trust me. Really, there's nothing that you can share with me that I probably have not already experienced or heard. And we're grown, right? We're grown people. So we don't have to omit anything. And if you're worried about me judging you or looking at you in a negative light, and that's why you omit the truth, then we're probably not meant to be in this type of relationship. Because trust is built over time, but it's also required. I can't give you true instruction or direction with half of the information. And so, again, if that's the case with a sponsor and a sponsee, how much more so is that the case with yourself? How much more so with myself when I am in a situation where I am needing to act or change a particular situation, withdraw from a situation, and it's going to take courage for me to do that. I also need humility because, see, I need to have the humility or awareness that I cannot omit. I cannot lie by omission. I cannot omit important information in this decision making. There's a lot of decisions that I've had to put up on the shelf because I felt that I didn't have all of the information that I needed in order to move forward with courage and confidence that I'm making the right decision. And you know what? I learned that from my mother. My mother always told me, if you have a major decision to make, give it 6 months. She wasn't saying be irresponsible. She was saying, give yourself 6 months to see how everything else around that situation works itself out. She said most of the time what she has found is that within that 6 month period, the decision has already made itself. What it was going to be has already worked itself out. And I don't have to come in there as the hard dog, right? So it's okay for me to say, let me think about that. I'm gonna need some time. Are you in a hurry? Okay, you're not in a hurry, you just trying to see what your options are. Okay, let me think about that. I wanna give myself some time. If it seems like I'm taking too long to get back to you, reach out to me and I'll let you know where I'm at on that. A lot of times the situation just goes away. People needing a room to stay in sometimes. Let me think about that. And as soon as you say, let me think about that, let me get back to you, they already take that as a no. And they go and move on to someone else that they can manipulate a little bit easier. You see? So I'm just trying to give you some examples there of how courage and humility to open doors and to close old ones can be helpful to yourself. It can help you waste less time and make more progress. I compared oftentimes to running a race, a relay race, where you have to pass the baton one person to another. A coach, a good track and field coach, is going to make sure that his team knows how to pass the baton and run in sync, because you only have so many feet, yards, maybe 2 or 3 yards, to be able to pass that baton and run in sync with one another. But if you do not know how to lay that baton in the hand of the person in front of you and run at the same time, a lot of times it's dropped. And the person that dropped it, the person that is ahead of you to run the next relay, the next part of that race, they have to double back, bend all the way down, and then start again to catch up with the other competitors. And so in this situation, it's better for us to take the time that we need to. And as you perfect your decision-making skills, as you learn that it's an art, right? There's a way to make a good decision. As you start taking that more and more seriously, you will find that you are wasting less and less time. My name is Mighty Stream, and I've enjoyed talking to you for the July 9th Spiritual Principle Day entitled Courage. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I will be talking to you tomorrow.